So did they always knew this would ultimately trickle down into goods prices? And, then was it going to be easier to explain it because it's the businessmen, it's the war, it's the famine? Or was this a little unintended that this was going to happen so quick? Or was this always something that they expected it to pass through?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are some people somewhere in government or at the Fed that knew this and just lied about it. But I'm sure there's so many incompetent people there that no, they didn't expect it. They are so clueless about economics, about inflation, and so they're just surprised. But the whole purpose of the policy that we've pursued, it's just kicking the can down the road. We've got this huge problem and we don't want to deal with it. Why does no politician want to deal with it? Because it means if they deal with it, they might not get reelected. Because you don't get reelected by being the bearer of bad news, right? There's an old saying, don't shoot the messenger, right? So nobody incumbent, no politician, no central banker wants to level with voters about how bad things are and what they actually need to do in order to correct the problem. What they want to do is kick that can down the road because then they can get past the next election. And so that's all we've been doing. But every time we do that, we make the problems that everybody is afraid to deal with even worse. And now they're even more afraid to deal with them because the consequences of doing it are even worse. So again, the can keeps getting kicked. But at some point, you run out of road, right? Or the can is simply too large and you can't kick it anymore. And, we got to be there. We got a $9 trillion Fed balance sheet. We got almost 31 trillion in national debt. We've flooded the economy with money, and we've really kicked it into a higher gear with COVID, when we had the worst combination of monetary and fiscal policy I've ever seen. And I called out the Fed in Congress in March of 2020 for the asinine policy response to COVID. They, on the one hand, they ordered businesses to shut down and workers to stay home. So they ordered a big reduction in supply. At the same time, they flooded the economy with cash to increase demand. In fact, they were dumb enough to send checks to people who were no longer working that were 2 or 3 times as large as the money they earned when they were working. So we had less supply, we had tremendous demand, and of course, prices went straight up, the opposite of what they should have done. The government should have cut spending during COVID. This Federal Reserve should have shrunk the money supply. If we were going to stop production, which was a mistake, I never believed we should have shut down the economy. I think it was an overreaction to the COVID. But if we were going to do that, if we really thought it was necessary to shut everything down and everybody stay home, then we also needed people to stop spending. We couldn't give people money to buy stuff when nobody was making stuff. We had to have a more serious recession than the one we had. But again, the politicians didn't want that. They wanted people to keep spending even though they weren't working. And, the consequences were obvious to me. It's just amazing that so many other people in government, couldn't see it.
Hey, it's Brian Rose, founder of the DeFi Academy. I've told you my 4-week crypto bootcamp is amazing, but don't take my word for it. This is what my students are saying.
The DeFi Academy was an amazing experience for me. It took me totally out of my comfort zone.
In this course, I was challenged, I was held accountable, and pushed to do things that honestly weren't always easy.
It's been phenomenal, and I can't believe we're already up on our 4 weeks. It has flown by.
Going through this DeFi accelerator by far was one of the best courses I've taken.
You do this course, you really get into the nitty-gritty of the activities that will make you comfortable with decentralized finance.
Thank you so much to Brian and everyone at London Real and the DeFi Academy for even putting together an amazing course like this.
Anybody else that wants to do it, please sign up. It is well worth the money.